Hello, welcome to our second installment on keeping the holidays holy. Today's, as I record this is the Feast of All Saints, so I'm going to ask the saints to intercede here for me to help get the messages across that you need to hear. We're going to start to talk about Thanksgiving, which is right around the corner, and then talk about Advent, because sure enough, as soon as you get the Thanksgiving Day dishes done, you're into Advent. So Thanksgiving. Isn't it wonderful to live in a country where there's a day set aside to give thanks to God? Thanksgiving was proclaimed in 1863 by President Abraham Lincoln, and it was designated as the last Thursday of November. Of course, Thanksgiving had been celebrated for many years prior to that, as we remember the pilgrims landing and giving their thanks for their crops. Amidst all of the cooking and preparing and football games, my first reminder is please don't forget to give thanks to God. And as mothers, you're the ones bringing people together. And even if you're taking a casserole over to Grandma's house, whatever it is, getting people together and to give thanks to God is a really good idea. If you can, try to get to Mass on Thanksgiving Day. I know it's not a holy day of obligation, but it is good to help the children remember that they want to give thanks to God. And you, Mom, remember to offer all of your work to God, because there is a lot of work with Thanksgiving. Don't forget the blessing before meals. Sometimes it's a little hard to do because if it's a group like ours, you've got people in 3 different rooms. But the blessing before meals is very, very important on this day. And try to avoid the Martha syndrome, that, oh, I am troubled about so many things. The way to do that is, first of all, to remember to offer your work to God. All of the dishes, all of the stirring, all of the assembling of deliciousness can be offered to God. At the same time, ask for help. If you're the one doing all of the preparations, ask somebody to bring a pie, ask somebody to bring a casserole, ask somebody to stir the gravy. Remember, our Lord's response to Martha after she sought help was, "Mary has chosen the better part, and it shall not be taken away from her." We need to remember to stay in the presence of God while we're stirring the gravy, while we're mashing the potatoes. And also remember, Martha was Saint Martha. She was a wonderful hostess. She was a doer. She needed an attitude adjustment, and sometimes we all need an attitude adjustment. Offer your work to God, and that can change the whole scene. Now, right after Thanksgiving, it's time to get out the Advent calendar. Sorry for that reminder. How do you keep calm during Advent? I haven't learned that trick yet, but I'm working on it. It does help to keep in mind that you're preparing for the coming of the baby Jesus. Santa Claus is definitely secondary. So, keep calm. And if you could please remember that as Mom goes, so goes the rest of the family. You are setting the tone. When you're getting supper ready during a lovely December evening and the kids are screaming, a priest once told me, sing Christmas carols. And honestly, that works like magic. Somebody used to say that when you sing, you pray twice. Something happens with children, whether it's Silent Night that you're singing or whatever it is. The children will, I can guarantee it, calm down. Sing great Christmas carols. My other piece of advice is don't do too much. Pare back. We seem to think sometimes that we can do it all. Well, don't try to do it all. Do some things, a few things, well. We have been known to send out our Christmas carol cards in January. Not that that's a goal, but if I do remember one year sitting down to do the Christmas cards, and the kids were playing and making noise, and it was just like, oh, it'd be easy if it weren't for all these kids. All right, if you've gone there, you've gone over the edge. So regroup. Don't lose the presence of God. I mean, and that's the thing that's wonderful about Christmas and Advent, is that there are so many reminders of the presence of God. All of the decorations should bring us to shake it up a little bit and say, okay, we're doing this for God. Our family traditions that include Advent wreaths. And like I said, you've got to get that Advent wreath out right after Thanksgiving. Advent calendars, Jessie trees, with all the decorations that you're doing during the Advent season, involve the kids. Make sure you have a manger that the kids can play with, so that they can act out the story of Christmas, of the coming of Jesus. We had one that was like little pillows. Of course, they became projectiles, but was fun. They could have a good time with that. And there's that wonderful tradition of having little pieces of yarn to act as straw for the manger, so that when the children do a good deed, they'll put a little piece of yarn in the manger to prepare for the baby Jesus. Also during Advent, to do something special for other people, whether it's somebody in the neighborhood who's all alone, and you just visit them, bring food, bring candy, whatever it is. Our parish has an Adopt a Child program where you can take a tag and buy gifts for a child who doesn't have much support. We used to also have the older siblings, when they saw that there was a toy that they had grown out of, I would ask them to clean it up, find all the pieces, put it together, and then they could give it to a younger sibling, or to cousins, or to friends and neighbors. That way they're giving a piece of something that they enjoyed, that they got a lot out of. During Advent, you'll have the Feast of St. Nicholas, and that's a wonderful, wonderful day for children. The patron saint of children. He gave gifts to the needy. Make sure your children know St. Nicholas, the real St. Nicholas, not that other guy in the red suit. And there's the Feast of the Immaculate Conception on December 8th, which is a holy day of obligation. And please try to teach your children that this it refers to Mary, who was conceived without sin, not the conception of Jesus. A lot of people get that a little confused. Have children pray to Mary during Advent. Help them to get to know the baby Jesus through her. Also, there is the Novena to the Immaculate Conception, which begins on November 30th and ends on December 8th. Also, during Advent, you could have the children write letters to the baby Jesus. Tell baby Jesus what their intentions are. They could write about the gifts that they're interested in, and they could make promises to be good. Whatever it is, live Advent well. It's the best way to prepare for Christmas. Thank you, and see you next time.